My name is Alexis Crook. I am an implementation consultant here at Prosymmetry, and in today's video I am going to be talking through how to create a RAR2 chart. So in Tempus, this is one of the report options that is out of the box, and this allows you to view a visual representation of your allocation versus your capacity. So within Tempus, you can report on your live data or your what-if model data. You can configure the units of measure and time frame, pull in both your project and resource datasets, select your stackable attributes, as well as export. Navigating into my Tempus demo environment here, I am going to go to my report management tile, and I am going to hit New and RAR2 chart. Again, these are all the different report types that you can create. In today's video, I'm going to be talking through the RAR2 chart. So the first thing that you can do is give your report a name. So I will just go with planned hours versus capacity 2026. Let's do that. You can give it a description if you would like. And lastly, you can choose where you want this information to come from. So whether you want it to be your live data or one of your models. Next tab I've got here is my configuration tab. So up at the top, you can choose your time granularity. You can choose this ISO week format if you choose to go with the week option. You can choose what value, so whether this will be in hours, cost, or FTE. You can choose to show grid lines and choose to show series numbers. I will keep both of these on and you will see how they appear within my report. Next, I've got my data series. So I am going to first start with my allocations. You can choose whether this will be your planned, actual, or remaining data type. You've got some filtering options over here on the right-hand side as well if you would want to filter this report down to limit it from maybe all of your, in this case, projects to just a select few. So use those filterings if you want to do so. You can choose to display this as a bar, a line, or area. You can choose to aggregate if you would like to. So would you like to aggregate this by project, resource, or none? The next option here is order. So you can choose between grand total and independent. As you can see, grand total is the default here, and this is identifying that the records are stacked based on the proportion of their sum throughout the entire report. That meaning that each of these time periods, the stacking would not change. Independent is the other available option. When this one is selected, it would take into account the sum based on each individual time period. So the stacked records would change period by period. Next, you can identify which attribute you would like to stack by, if you would like to stack by any. Next option here is your top field. So this is used to configure the number of records to stack. So in this case, I've got 10. And then up at the top, including rest kind of ties into that. So if I've got my top 10 projects showing, everything else will be grouped into an 11th item here, all grouped together because I want to include that rest. If I choose no here, those remaining projects outside of the top 10 would not appear. And then down here at the bottom, I am going to limit this information to just 2026. And let's see, I don't want this stacked by year. Let's actually go down to the monthly level. There we go. All right, so I am seeing this by month for the year 2026. I'm going to go ahead and add that series. And then I'm going to add one more. I want to add in my net capacity here. And setup here is pretty similar. In this case, though, I'm going to go by line. You can choose some different options here. I'm not going to aggregate this. I don't want to aggregate this by any specific information. And let's go ahead and update these dates here to be the same as my project bar. There we go. All right, so now on the right-hand side, I am seeing my bars being my projects, and I'm seeing my line being my net capacity. I can see that series number up at the top. Lots going on here. This is just a very simple example of what a RAR2 chart could look like. Again, comparing your planned allocations to your capacity, and in this case by month. If you have any additional questions, please let us know.